1 cameo, 2 cameo, 3 cameo, 4. With Omega being taken, prepare for war.
Not bad.
Experimental Unit Clone Force 99. The defective clones with desirable mutations. They call themselves the Bad Batch.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Bad Batch finale-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 15 and 16, The Summit and Plan 99. Did I cut out? Or was that just
I
my
accidentally
headphones?
clicked it again.
Oh.
Woo!
But yes, the finale is here. And before, we just finished recording the Mando breakdown like 2 hours ago.
Mhm.
And I forgot to do the Spotify Q&A until the very end. So we're not doing that again. So we're going to do the Spotify Q&A for last week's episode right away. And it's a very good flow into these two episodes. So I had two questions. Is Emery Carr a female clone like Omega, but with growth acceleration? Is she working with Nala Se as a mole? JD says, Carr sounds like an older Omega. So yes, I think she is a female clone and is probably a spy. Elias says yes and yes. Pizza says, I think Emery Carr is a clone made by Nala Se to help with other cloning. Emery Carr is now on a quest to find Omega, but will use Crosshair to get her, since Omega will do anything to get him back. Addie says, no, I don't think so, but I would also like to point out that her name is really close to my sisters who hate Star Wars, Emery and Embry. So
Ooh.
it's on the same. So who knew? Apparently Dave Filoni did. Firstborn says, not a clone, but rather someone who is starting to recognize their failures within the system. Also, this season is built on themes, and other than Entombed, every episode has followed that structure.
I thought it was built on hope.
No, that's Rebellions.
Oh.
And Dazdor says, yes. To both
Well,
questions.
Dazdor, you're right.
Yes. So I'm
Yeah.
sure. Okay, we recorded Bad Batch a day early, so Addie's probably gonna be sad that her voicemail for the finale isn't getting. So sorry about that, Addie.
But send it in for next week's Bad Batch.
You mean
We'll still take it.
you mean next
Or
week's
Mando,
Mando.
Sorry.
So Mando will play it during Mando. Sorry, Addie, but we had to get it done today. But
wow. Can you see why it was hard for me to focus?
Okay, now we gotta tell the story of how you spoiled it for me. Because I didn't tell you what you spoiled for me because I didn't want to get a confirmation. So this morning, Drew is doing the Mando watch party at 8 a.m. Perfect. So in the Discord, when we go live on Twitch or a video is posted on YouTube, there's a link that gets posted in the Discord automatically by a bot. And so when he went live at 8 a.m., I got the thing for Mando. Cool. But on Twitch for the last few weeks, we've been having issues with the thing, Twitch crashing and then getting back on and crashing and getting back on. And so I kept getting notifications that Drew is going live, and it kept saying the Mando chapter 21.
Yeah, because I didn't
breakdown,
change my
like watch party. So I kept getting these notifications like, dude, Drew's stream is going terrible right now. And like we had to record at 10 for Mando, and I get another notification and it's like 9:45. And I'm like, is he still watching this thing? It's been like almost 2 hours. And so I click on the live link on Twitch to see where the heck he is in this episode, because the link says Mandalorian Chapter 21 watch party. And right when I open it, all I hear Drew say is, "We lost Tech." And I'm like, well, no, and I X out of it. And I'm like, because I only watched the first episode, and before we had to record for Mando, so I was like, okay, I got one more episode to watch. So I didn't know Drew was doing a watch party with the Bad Batch things.
And in your defense, also, I haven't been doing watch parties.
Right. I had no idea. I just thought you were having
But
really bad Twitch issues.
I was watching it, and the whole first part of the Mando watch party, it didn't crash or anything. So I was like, okay, well, it didn't crash. You guys want to watch Bad Batch with me? The chat was like, yeah, let's watch it. And I was like, you know what? It's a finale episode. I'll do a watch party and see if people want me to do watch parties for season 3. So I was like, I'll do the last 2 episodes, which I'm glad, because my reaction to Mr. Tech dying was pretty intense. So I'm excited. So you guys got to go watch that reaction. But yeah, so, and then it started crashing like crazy. Like the last watch party for the Bad Batch or whatever, it literally crashed like 4 times. So I apologize if you're watching the watch party and the time keeps jumping around. But yeah. And I didn't tell Jeremiah, so it's my fault.
So I got spoiled.
Yeah.
And
but wow.
We all expected this to happen to Tech, but I wanted to actually.
I was still not expecting it.
But
I was still like, no.
I got spoiled, and I'm sad. And
my bad.
I can't be mad at Drew because he didn't do anything wrong. So.
But I should have told you I should have switched the title at least.
You should, yeah, you should. Because I watched the first episode and I was thinking of sending you a message, hey, you should probably do a watch party because this is pretty intense after just watching the first episode. Because I didn't know you were going to do it in the morning, so I thought you were going to do it after you recorded Mando or something.
Which I kind of wish I would have waited, because those episodes are so intense, especially that last one, episode 2. Like I literally had to reset for the Mando podcast, because I was like, dude, so wait, what happened in Mando? Because the Bad Batch episode, the last episode was so intense, so just crazy. Everything, it was just like I couldn't. At one point, I was having a hard time breathing. Like it was so good.
So,
and I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna mention it, but I'm not gonna mention it. I'm not gonna say anything about how we should have got this 4 episodes ago or whatever. I'm over it.
Well, I think this was a good finale, 2-episode finale. I'm not disappointed by it at all.
No. And it was some of the best.
The Crosshair stuff, we thought it was going to be more. So now we think, we're already jumping to season 3 predictions, but I think clearly Omega, Emery, and Crosshair are going to team up and try and escape.
Yeah.
In season 3 somehow, get a message out. But
do you think Tech is dead?
Oh no.
No?
No.
That a boy. I like that.
If he is, he is. But we didn't see a body. And of course, Dr. Hemlock is gonna say, sorry about your guy. You lost him. How does that make you feel as the leader hunter? And here's his goggles. And there needs to be a reuniting moment with Tech and Fee. I was really hoping, just before Crosshair or before Tech shot the thing so he fell, I thought he was going to say, "Tell Fee I love her," or something like that as he fell.
Dang, Jeremiah's becoming a little softy.
Doesn't make me a softy because
I hate love stories.
I don't. Right, but like I thought that's what was going to happen because like he didn't say anything to her when they left. Like he wanted to,
He's
but
so
he's
awkward.
but he still wasn't able to express himself with
Mhm.
his ability to whatever. And so it's like I thought, okay, in that moment, out of desperation, knowing that he's going to die, he's going to like tell Fee I love her or something to give a message to Fee or something like where he could in the moment he had to push through his inability to communicate his feelings and actually come out with that, or at
Mhm.
least say I love you guys too, like the Bad Batch, the Omega, Wrecker, Tech, and
Dude,
Hunter.
that whole scene was so crazy.
But
Yeah, we have a lot to
very
break down. So
very emotional
I loved it.
thing, a lot of action. Not as good as the racing episode, but
Okay.
but now you're pushing it over and over again. Come
Sorry.
on, you and your buttons today are a little off. But yes, so clearly, I'm guessing at Star Wars Celebration we're gonna get maybe just the announcement that there's a season
Did you
3.
watch the end of the credits?
I did. There wasn't anything there.
Okay, good. I was asking you because I was hoping you did because I didn't.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything I missed because I'm be like, all right, pause this real quick. Let me go watch the end of. So yeah, they haven't announced it, but
So
last year we got
before the
announce
finale.
before the finale even. So
So I'm assuming next week at Star Wars Celebration, that first night they're doing like the future of Star Wars. So I don't know if that's just gonna be like new projects or if they're gonna announce like because I think there is a Bad Batch season 2 panel one of those days. So they'll probably announce it there, give like a little teaser or something. Probably nothing. They probably don't even have a teaser. So because it was a year and a half after season 1 that we got season 2, so it's gonna be a
gotcha.
while before we get Bad Batch again, but probably at least another year and a half. But
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it.
you might as well.
Might as well jump into scene by scene because it's gonna be a long
And
one.
we got some voicemail stuff. So
Sweet.
all right, so we're back on Pabu at night, and it's just peaceful Pabu. Got the moon off in the horizon, lighting up everything. Looks really nice. And they're scrambling, trying to gather information about the science program and Dr. Hemlock. And there's limited information. Like this guy is just a ghost; he doesn't really exist. So it's just kind of like, how do we know anything? But then like we have no idea where they are located, blah blah blah. And then Echo, that's not true. I got information from one of my contacts. Very convenient. But they're going to a meeting with Tarkin on Iriadu, which is very interesting because that's similar to Edu, which is from Rogue One. And so maybe it's the same system or something. But that's Tarkin or Tarkin's bases basically, and he is going to have a meeting where Dr. Hemlock and others are going to meet about and discuss things. And so they're like, well, can we get any help? Is like Rex available? Like, no, Rex is on his own mission right at the moment. It's just us, so they're on their own, just the 4 of them, or 5 of them, and so it's just them. They gotta get it done, and so they start packing up, and then Tech is outside the H&M and getting everything ready, and Omega says her goodbyes to the Fee, going on a covert mission, can't give any details. And then Fee goes up to Tech, and Tech's like, oh, you want a briefing or something? Like, and then, but she's like, just trying to talk to him, and she's like, two friends talking, it's called having a conversation, like, blah, blah, blah. And so Fee is like, don't run off with any other pirates or smugglers. And Tech's like, oh, there's not gonna be any of those here. And she's like, you don't get it, do you? I'm a smuggler pirate. I'm the only woman that you can have. Don't be going off with some other pirate chick. And so,
He was so oblivious to this whole
but then like when
conversation.
she's walking away, he kind of looks off to her like, crap, I could have shot my shot there and I didn't. So like, but he gets it and he gets onto the ship. Quick scene of Dr. Hemlock arriving at the planet. And so he gets escorted. He has fighter jets, ships escorting him down to the planet. It's like very cloudy, mountainous terrain. And he lands, gets escorted to the meeting room where Tarkin and there's a bunch of other people. And Dr. Hemlock was late, apparently. So that happens. Then the Bad Batch, they arrive at the planet and they use clearance codes that Echo got. And they're good. They checks out and they land off in a distance because they can't just land at the base. So they make their way to a rail line system, which looks fun, I guess. Kind of scary. But it's very long. It's very, very, like, I feel like they could just have, like, something towards the bottom, and it's just more of, like, a steep, like, elevator going straight up rather than have this long thing, but I guess not. And so they have to briefly disable the sensor on it so they don't get trigger alarm. So Tech goes up there with his line, does the timing, pauses it, so then they can jump up on a rail car and get on before it reboots. And so it happens. They get on. Perfect. And they have to hang on the side of the ship while it's going up, so that's pretty scary. And then, but while it's happening, it kind of zooms in on Tech by himself. I'm like, dang it, something's gonna happen to Tech. It's coming. But they get up to the facility, they land, shoot some stormtroopers. Everything's good.
Straight up shoot. There's no stunning going on right now.
Right. And so then it goes to the meeting in Tarkin's office room. This is the summit, which when you think of a summit, you think of a much larger,
huge meeting,
like a huge
crowd
meeting
of people,
like of leaders and stuff. But this is like 5 guys. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Whatever. They could have just called it the meeting.
Yeah.
But so we get there, and there's everybody there is a face that we know, which you might not know it off right back, but Tarkin, we know Tarkin, we know Hemlock.
Mm-hmm.
Director Krennic is there.
Yep.
But also there is Barton Coburn, and he's a character from the Clone Wars that we see a few times. So he works with I looked it up. He works with Plo Koon a little bit, and he was also with which is interesting. He was with the same group that Tarkin, who went to go rescue the Citadel episode where we lose Echo and they go rescue the Jedi or whatever out of the Citadel. Like Tarkin and this guy are both there, and so it's interesting because Barton Coburn, he's like, I like the clones. They're loyal.
Mm-hmm.
But even on that same mission, Tarkin was on that same mission, and Tarkin was like, no, they're unpredictable. So even though their unpredictability always results in wins, but whatever. So we see him a few times in Clone Wars, but also the other guy, Hurst Romodi. He was the guy that was no business in front with party and back in this episode. He was bald on top. Wasn't even a mullet because he had no hair on top, so there was no business in front and just a party and back. But he is in Rogue One. He is Tarkin's second in command, which he doesn't have the same haircut, but he's the guy that tells Tarkin that there's an attack on Scarif and Director Krennic is there. And so he's just kind of like a minor character, but it's the same old guy, just older, so he doesn't have that hairdo that in Rogue One.
The mole is gone, or the
his
back is
hairline
gone.
his hairline kept going back, and eventually it was all gone. But yeah, and so then Director Krennic is there. So
Yeah.
we got all these top guys there that have influence in the Empire, and so it was interesting seeing. I wish we could saw I thought like Yularen would be there maybe, but he's too busy doing ISB stuff, I guess.
Was there anyone there that Vader killed?
No, that was everyone. There was only those 5 people. So
No, I was asking, did Vader kill any of those guys?
no,
Nope.
They weren't in any of the original movies. So unless maybe the one guy was played by a different actor in Episode 4 or something like that. But I didn't see it when I looked it up. I didn't see him listed as in Episode 4.
Probably not. They would have said it probably.
So that's cool having all those characters there. And they're talking about galactic unification, and kind of like they're all kind of talking about big plans and how to expand the Empire's reach and be more unified and all that stuff. And so cloning is brought up because Dr. Hemlock gives his report and saying that he can reuse these clones and trying to learn how to do the Kaminoan science. And so the one guy says, "Oh, I like clones. We should still use them." The other guy was like, "Oh, these clones are willingly going into these experiments."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "They're Imperial property. They don't have a choice." And so there's that. But then there's like this discussion between of like a clone uprising, maybe like it's already starting to happen on a small scale. Or are they gonna start banning it? So there's the rumor that there's gonna be a giant clone war again, kind of like Daniel said in voicemails last week. That maybe there's next season is probably gonna be a big uprising of clones. That's my guess. And so, I think that'd be really good as long as they don't have all those filler episodes. Just give me 8 episodes of really good, 10 episodes of really good
Content. That's all we need.
We don't need any filler stuff.
Correct.
Unless the filler is just kind of like actually something that matters to like regroup and get supplies or something like supply run.
Yeah.
I can go for a heist episode where it's just them stealing supplies. That's fine. And then Director Krennic is there, a young Director Krennic, and Tarkin brings up Project Stardust, which is the Death Star thing. Now, I was really hoping that we would hear Director Krennic talk a little bit, saying that we're having trouble with it because that's why they go get Galen Erso to recruit him in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be interesting if that was just kind of like this same timeline as Rogue One when Galen Erso gets kidnapped to work on it. But
that would have been cool.
But I can't remember what was there was a timeline stamp, right? In the movie. Like,
jeez, I don't know.
Was it like a 10 years later or 15 years later? So it might have been a few years way too early to do that parallel, but I thought there was like 10 years ago.
It's got to be coming up.
Because if Jyn Erso is like 10 when her dad's taken, is it like, how old is she supposed to be in? I don't know, maybe we could look it up quick, but I thought it would have been better if they just made that. It would have been literally 20 seconds of content that they could have added. But they did accredit Ben Mendelsohn as the voice actor, but I feel like because he only had one line.
Yeah, it was like right away. It's almost seemed like they could have just took that line from Rogue One and put it in.
Right. So
that's what it felt like. It was really quick.
So she was born 21 BBY. So it's probably way too young. So we're probably for 2 years into, so it's probably like 17 BBY. So she's a few years younger than at this point than she was in Rogue One. So probably not the same timeline, but that's fine. But yeah. So Bad Batch, they infiltrate the facility. Like when they arrive, and they kind of go further in. They have to get to the control room where by like the landing bay is, to find out which ship is Dr. Hemlock, so they can put a tracking beacon on it. So Hunter, Tech, and Echo go up to that, while Wrecker and Omega stay down in the docking bay area, landing bay. And so they're trying to figure out what ship. So it's lane number 4. But when they're doing that, they realize that there's other surveillance things that are out, like throughout the facility. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Something's going down. This isn't good. I'm like, what's happening? But I'm like, okay, whatever. Something's gonna go down. So Omega, she goes to plant the beacon on his ship, because Ricker's too big and clumsy to do it, so she can more sneakily get in. She hides behind a cart that a guy trooper is pushing, sneaks around, plants the thing, but then she gets pinned down. There's no way she can get back to Wrecker without being seen, and so Echo creates a diversion with the magnetic crane thing going haywire. Enough distraction, so Wrecker then gets Omega, and they get to safety. Fun. And then there's continual information that there is a whole section of cameras, surveillance cameras have been shut off. I'm like, there's definitely something going on, another mission going on. Because earlier in the episode, Echo's like, oh, Rex is on his own mission. Yeah. I'm like, there's no way.
It kind of pushed you to that. Like,
but it's like,
maybe it is him. But then wouldn't Echo know?
Yeah, so I'm like, so Rex and Echo would not make that mistake.
Go to the same spot.
Right, that'd be kind of weird. But I'm like, who else would it be? Like, I couldn't think of anyone else.
I was hoping it would have been Cody.
That would have been cool.
I was really hoping because
I forgot about Cody.
I was really hoping because like Rex wasn't available that they're gonna get Cody or something. Like I was really hoping, but
and so Tech, Echo, and Hunter, they go looking for, I forget where they were on their way to. I don't know if it was just to meet up with Wrecker and Omega, but
no, I forget too. I think weren't they like trying to power down something so they could get away?
I don't know. I can't remember, but
they get into something like that.
They get into some room, and because there's more surveillance cameras in there, and Tech is like, these ones aren't even on. Also, like, what's the deal? And they find some explosives planted in there. Like, this is a big mission. And then some 2 stormtroopers come in, and oh crap! And he's like, oh! And they put their hands up and they take the helmet off, and it's Saw Gerrera. Totally forgot about him.
I was like, huh?
I was like, it makes sense.
It makes sense, but it was just so.
It just
random.
I completely forgot about him. Like, I like Saw Gerrera. Some people think he's overdone. A lot of people say that. Like, you're annoyed by him. But like, I think he's just, his like rebellion style is so different than everybody else, because he's so like, we're just gonna kill everybody, blow up everything, no mercy, no plan, just very chaotic. And it's based off of him losing his sister. Like, he's just so angry that his sister was killed during Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And he is a very important part of the greater rebellion. Like, he's one of the first people to rebel. Mm-hmm. He is involved with impacting Jyn Erso. He has interaction with the Rebel Alliance, where he worked with Mon Mothma and but cut ties because he's too extreme. He worked with Luthen from Andor. Like,
Mhm.
he's just very important to the greater picture of the rebellion. And so anytime we see him, I just get excited because he's just a unique rebel character, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I don't understand how much hate he gets because I think his character is very important to the rebels. So I like his character a lot.
Right. And so he's like, "Oh, I'm Brandy. Like back on Onderon, I told you had to make a choice between joining the Empire or doing your own thing. And it looks like you guys chose your own thing. Like, and he was happy to see the Bad Batch separated from the Empire. And they're like, well, why are you here? I was like, we gotta blow up this whole entire facility because of a meeting and blah blah blah. And Tech and Hunter and them are like, okay, we can't do that. Like, they'll just bring in new people and take their spot. Like, they'll start over. Like, it's not gonna do anything. Like, you could use this place to get information and plan more long term rebellion acts rather than just a quick fix. But he doesn't care. Saw just does whatever he wants.
Well, and he said that we needed one guy alive to track him down to his base.
Right, the Bad Batch said that.
Yeah.
And so, but he's
And
like,
then
well,
I don't care.
I don't care. Like, that's your problem, not mine. And so he has all these explosives planted, and then because everything's going down, because the surveillance things were out, like when the crane went haywire, like the Imperials and the main control room saw that there were surveillance, so they sent out troopers to go inspect what's going on. They felt that there was a breach, and so when they saw and the Bad Batch are talking, troopers come and there's a shootout. So then obviously both plans are now done. They just kind of have to survive now, get out of there while they can.
Yeah, because that was the thing, right? Because they messed up the lift. I'm like, why is that such a big deal? Because it's like it was only temporary messed with, and then they found everything else, and then it became a big deal. So I think they did that pretty well. Because if Saw and them weren't there and it was just a lift, it would have been really aggressive to do all that stuff for just one lift issue that could have been caused by weather or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I think the way they did it was well done.
So the two groups split apart to do their own thing. And so Saw and his team, they have stormtrooper armor on, so they can blend in. And so the Bad Batch, they're trying to escape. Because I think at this point they still have to meet up with Wrecker and Omega. Because
because
the three
Omega was sent down there to put the tracking beacon on the ship.
But at this point, they're still not back together. And so I think the three were pinned down in a hallway, but then Wrecker and Omega came and saved the day because we saw like one stormtrooper getting thrown across the hallway. And like, okay, Wrecker's there. And then they team up then, and they're on their way out. And the Saw Gerrera's team, they're like, well, we can't finish putting up the explosives. We got to go. Because like they wanted to put an explosive in the meeting room or near the meeting room, which they did not have time to do, which
would have changed the entire outlook of the Empire if they would have done that.
Yeah, like Tarkin and Krennic and these other two guys, like it would have maybe changed a lot about the Empire because Tarkin is like the only the only competent person in the Empire, seems like at times, holding everything together in large sections of the galaxy. So it's like if he's gone, then more efforts would have taken more people to fill in his work, and then it would have been more. It wouldn't have been as smooth. So, Saw Gerrera might have been right in this moment to take out some big people in the Empire.
Yeah, who would have like if he would have been able to take him out, then like the Bad Batch potentially would have been able to be saved. Like there's so much stuff that could have happened if they would have actually just went with Saw and decided to blow everything up. Like yeah, they wouldn't have been able to get Crosshair at that point, but it doesn't necessarily mean they wouldn't be able to figure out where he was later.
Right. And so, like, but either way, both plans did not get fulfilled because both they ran into each other and neither one could get complete. So the Bad Batch couldn't get Hemlock's location, and Saw wasn't able to take out all those leaders. So both plans technically failed. And so, but Saw's team, they get to the hangar and they escape on a ship. And then the Bad Batch, they get on a rail car, and then Saw blows the facility up, and that causes the rail cars and the rail lines to lose power. And so the Bad Batch are stuck, hanging, and then not too far off in distance, coming from the opposite direction, was another rail car with stormtroopers on it that's just hanging. And that's the episode. Episode 15, The Summit.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
Yeah,
they leave you literally hanging.
That's funny. They could have done that for the finale of the show, like the last episode, and I would have left us hanging. That'd been funny.
That would have been crazy if the first episode would have been this next episode we're about to break down. Oh my god, that would have. That would have been cool, actually. Start off season 3.
I don't know. I feel like the actual finale was much bigger of a cliffhanger, just because there's no hope at the end of this next episode. But before we jump in to the next episode, we have a little message from our friend Lucy. So let's take a listen.
Hey everyone! Fictional Lucy here, and I'm pleased to tell you that I'm just one of the many characters created in the original Star Wars audio drama some Empire Radio fans made. The story of my friends and I, called the Voicemail Cinematic Universe, played out through 86 voicemails. The problem is, our adventures are only audio. Unless you give us a hand. The goal is to have an illustration for every voicemail provided by you listeners. We're looking for any type of media. Digital art, Legos, painting, photography, anything at all. And don't worry if you're not professional. If you want to see the drama we go through come to life, just click on the link in the description that takes you directly to a Google Doc. It'll guide you through the whole process of creating and submitting your art. Colonel Doss, Will, Darth Daddy, and all us VCU characters can't wait to see what you can do. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, that fiendish Sith Lord, do it.
Do it. Ooh, that was almost in sync.
Almost. But yes, so that's episode 15. But now we got to move on to episode 16, Plan 99. And so much happened in this episode. My notes, I don't even know if I can.
Yeah.
It was just nonstop, basically.
It was so crazy.
So we just pick up literally where we left off in episode 15. We see, a further out view from the mountain. We see it's all smoking, blah, blah, blah. See the tracks that are stuck. And the two rail cars are shooting at each other.
Which I don't know about you, Jeremiah, but I was happy I didn't have to wait a full week for this episode.
Right. Because season 1, there was a break between the two episodes. Right? So, which was lame. Yeah. But we didn't have to wait. And so the two rail cars are shooting at each other. They're trying to figure out how to reroute power because it got shorted out from the explosion. And so they have Tech
climb to the very top.
Climb to the top. So he could get onto the rail line itself. And he starts running down the rail line. Like, part of me was like, why didn't they just all go on there and just start running? I know it was more dangerous, but like, obviously they didn't know that what was going to happen was going to happen. But part of me was like, just all jump on the rail line because it was wide enough for them all to run on.
Yeah. Well,
But
and then like I feel like Echo arm came in such clutch this episode and last episode. Like
who?
Echo's arm,
Oh, the only time they need him the whole season,
bro.
he
His arm
shows
has
up.
been coming in clutch. And then I don't know about you, but I wish I had an iPad like tech that I can just turn on electricity to anything or hack anything with just a nice little iPad.
I'm sure you could do that.
Well,
There's plenty of hackers out there that just use their phone or a little data pad.
to put power back to things, though, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
But yes, so it flashes then back to the meeting where Tarkin is with the people. So they're put on lockdown. They're in a room. Everything's shut down. The windows are closed. Like they've barricaded themselves in because they got the red troopers, or they're the shock troopers, Imperial shock troopers, I think. And so they're guarding the team there, and we get a hollow message from one of the guys like, okay, we got everybody's dead. There's been 6 explosions. We got 2 rail cars. We got people on one and our troopers on the other one. And Tarkin's like, just shoot them down. Just get air support. Shoot them down. But sir, they're our troopers. I don't care. And so 3 ships at first are sent, and then later on we get a few more, and they go to attack. And so Tech is trying to reroute power, and so he's plugged in, doing his thing. Ships are coming, and you can't see them. So like at this point, the clouds are like intense. There's more fog, more clouds. You can't see the ships. You can just kind of hear them in the distance. But then they come. They start shooting. Finally get power on. They're trying to go, but they get shot again. Tech's trying to run back to get onto the ship while they're getting shot at. And Hunter took out one of those ships with his
Dude,
blaster.
I was going to say, all of a sudden a Hunter can shoot like freaking Crosshair all of a sudden. Like, he shoots one ship and it just like blows up. I'm like, dude, that shot.
Because isn't it a thing
in Star Wars? Pistol.
Right. But isn't it a thing in Star Wars that the shields, energy shields on ships don't work in the atmosphere? They have to go in outer space?
I don't even think it's that. I think those ships are similar built like TIE fighters where they don't have shields.
They not have shields? Oh, maybe not.
Because TIE fighters don't. So I think they're similar built.
Interesting.
Just they mass produce them so they can get built faster. They're not really able to protect the people inside of the ship.
But yeah, Hunter takes out a ship. And so then through all this, things get pushed back and forth. I think Tech jumps. He doesn't make it to the rail car, but he's hanging on the edge of the rail itself.
Mm-hmm.
And he then gets knocked down, falls, lands on top of the rail car. And then it starts the ships circle around, shoot again, it starts falling apart, and he's dangling, losing his balance. And so the first time watching, I was like, okay, he just used his rappel thing that could like pull him up. But second time, he just has a line with a hook on it.
Yeah, because before it was a gun.
Right. And so I thought, why doesn't he just rappel up with the gun like he did 2 minutes earlier? And the second time, he just threw a hook, and it landed and caught. And so he's hanging from this thing. I'm like, dang it. Drew already spoiled it for me, so now I know what's going to happen. And so, but how is this going to play out? Maybe
I was jumping to the...
Maybe Drew, this is later on in the episode, and Drew is like, we lost Tech, like, oh, he left Fee. Like, left with Fee, and they're, like, living happily. Tech left, I can't believe it, and you're happy for them. Maybe I'm trying to hold out for hope that maybe Tech's not going to die. But he's trying to pull himself up, but it's really hard to pull yourself up on a rope. Climb up.
And the thing that you're strapped to is slowly falling
falling,
and
then
more.
it's intense because you got ships shooting at you, and then
Mm-hmm.
Wrecker can't go down and get him and pull him up because the weight shifting is causing it to fall more.
And
And-
Wrecker's heavy as heck.
And if they try and move forward, like it's just gonna, with the turning the ship, the rail car back on, it's just gonna make it fall even faster. And so Tech sees this, is able to understand the situation and know there's no way that he can be saved. And he's like, it's time for Plan 99, where just like 99, the clone, sacrifices himself for the group, Tech does the same thing. He shoots the rail car above him, which it causes it to dislodge, and he falls.
Yeah.
And the music, it went like quiet, and there was like nothing. There was like no sound. It was like all muffled sound, I think it was, because everybody was tunnel vision, just looking at Tech fall. And then like, so like, he's fallen, and like you can see through the window of the rail car, him in the window as it's falling, and he's just falling, twirling like a rag doll in a sense. But he falls, the rail car falls, and then because the rail cars are two cars, like it's, and so the back half falls, and then the one that the rest of them are in, it goes,
Jumps up pretty much.
Reconnects properly, and then goes. And
Omega scream.
well, here's the thing. We missed the thing. A good line. So Wrecker tells him to like get up here now. Like, he's about to fall, and Tech is like, when have we ever followed orders? And then he shoots the thing and falls. So that's sad. He's like, I'm not following your orders. I'm doing my own thing because that's what we do. I'm like, gosh, dang it, Tech.
So depressing.
And so the rail car, because it's damaged, there's no brakes. And so they get to the end, and it just keeps going, and it smashes through and crashes to the other side of the building. And so they all fall out. Omega, she's all fuzzy in her sight and can't see anything and doesn't know what's going on, and she passes out. And when she wakes up, it's her POV, it's her point of view, seeing everything when Hunter, Tech, and Wrecker find her and grab her, and it's on their way back to the ship and getting shot at. So it's very reminiscent of when Hunter faced off Cad Bane in season 1, and he got shot, and they find him, and he wakes up. It's all POV point of view. So there's that. They get back to the ship, and they're like, go back to Ord Mantell. Gosh dang it. Why are you going to Ord Mantell?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and the thing went so fast that it broke through, and Omega got knocked out essentially too.
Right, because that's why she passed out and woke up. Yeah. So,
yeah, they're like, go back to Ord Mantell. Sid,
I'm like, why wouldn't he just go back to Pabu? Like, maybe it's just because Ord Mantell's closer.
No, I think it's that droid.
The medical droid.
That medical droid is able to help Omega. That was like their.
I think that was it, man.
Yeah, that was definitely it. And I'm like, no, why would they go there? Yeah. And then we all knew that was going to happen.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I didn't. So, right when I saw, okay, we saw the ship, we're jumping a little ahead, but the Imperial ship comes. I'm like, dang it, they tracked him somehow. But then it goes right after that, it flashes to Sid. I'm like, oh, it was Sid.
What, you didn't think the whole time?
Whole time what?
Dude, as soon as Sid was talking to.
Well, I knew that the Empire was going to show up, but I thought it was just because they were tracking.
Oh, no. As soon as they landed there and they showed Sid once, I'm like, she's a rat. Her music was like more eerie and dark too.
Well, because it's a sad moment. That was not for her.
It was because she was ratting the entire time.
It was because they were. So you're saying if she wasn't a rat, there would have been happy music in that time?
No, but it wouldn't have been like that.
What do you mean?
Like, there was sad music, but then it showed her, and it was like different music.
Well, she was still sad too.
She was. No, she was.
But my point is, like, I knew that before we even got to Ord Mantell, right when he said it, I was like, okay, the Empire's going to show up at the end of this episode somehow. But I figured, okay, they just had a confrontation with the Empire. Somehow they threw a tracker on the ship because they're
as
literally.
soon as he said, "Let's go back to Omer and tell," I was like, "Oh, she's gonna rat him out."
No, I didn't.
Because I didn't forget. They had to make. They kept saying it this entire
Well,
time.
I know it makes sense, but I was like, okay, maybe like this is they just followed, because they were literally shooting right outside their ship when they boarded. So like, okay, someone could just do a tracker on, like it wouldn't have been a crazy thing.
The visuals of Omega's point of view and being dragged into the ship was so cool. Like you said, like I was like, dude, this is so amazing, but I can't even focus on this because we just lost tech. So I was like, I'm so mad, but the visuals and the animation of this is so good right now, but I'm so mad right now. Like my emotions were like all over the place. I'm like, I want to like focus on how cool this looks. But at the same time, my heart is literally pounding and I'm crying. And I'm like, this is so stupid. I hate this in every form. And then they're like, let's go back to Omer and tell. I'm like, no, now they're going to get ratted out. Here we go.
But Omega wakes up and AZ is there. I'm like, oh, cool. We haven't seen AZ in a while. That's cool. Like, how's he doing? And so AZ is like, you'll be just fine. Everybody will be just fine. You just need a proper rest and all that jazz. And did Wrecker hurt his neck, right? He had like a neck brace on.
See, that's what I thought.
That's
but
what
it's
that was.
Actually part of his uniform. It just looks weird because he only puts it on with his helmet.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, he has a neck brace on. And then Will's like, no, that's part of his uniform. It just looks different with his helmet.
I don't ever remember seeing that.
We've never, because that's why his helmet looks so tiny, because his neck thing comes up so high.
I thought
it was a neck brace too.
Well, because when he doesn't, because I'm looking at, okay, where's his page is way too big, but like his profile pic on Wikipedia, it has like a neck thing, but it's not like connected to his neck. Like it's just a wider thing that goes up. Like
I think, but is that with or without his helmet on?
That's
we haven't seen his
helmet on. So I don't know.
It could have been a neck brace.
I think it's a neck brace.
We know Hunter had a stomach wrapped.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, you didn't notice that?
No.
Yeah, he had his stomach wrapped because they said like, you guys will be fine and stuff, and that's why, because his stomach. See that image that you're looking at though, like I just pulled up. That's his old one. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, maybe it was a neck brace. Yeah, I think I was right.
Yeah, we're both right. Come on, Will. He's not in the chat right now, but come on, Will. But yeah, so
it looks like that patch might be added to Fortnite.
They're all focus. But they're all injured. Wrecker leaves. Okay, they have the conversation about Tech's gone because Omega had to remember what happened. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we have to go back. Maybe he's hurt. He needs us. And Hunter's like, no. He sacrificed himself. He died. But like, we can't waste that. And so he's like, we're done fighting. We're just going to live our lives back on Pabu. Like, is that okay with you? And Omega says that's fine. And so Wrecker, he leaves, sits down at the bar, and Sid gives him a drink on the house. It's the least she could do, right? Considering everything. And so then it jumps to, so he's all sad, and he's like, the drink's not going to help get rid of the pain. And so then it goes to Echo, and he's in the ship, the H&M, with Gonki, and they're both sad. But then they look up into the sky, and there's a big cruiser. I don't know my ships, like I always say. A Imperial giant ship, and they're all coming down. And he wants to signal the rest of the team, but all communications are jammed. So now he can't warn them that the Emperor is coming. And then it flashes back to Sid, and she's like super nervous. And Wrecker's like, "What's going on?" Blah blah blah. And she's like, "I warned you guys. Like, I took care of you guys, and I told you not to like run off. Blah blah blah. I had to do what I had to do." And Wrecker's like, "What did you do?"
You don't have to do anything, you rat.
And
I was
she's
so
like,
mad.
"Sorry." And then
The whole time I was like spamming like
Get out. Get out.
okay,
the entire time. I was just like,
but then commandos come in, and they try and shock Wrecker, but it doesn't work at first. So he charges them, and then there's a firefight, and Hunter and Omega are like, "Oh crap hit the fan. What's going on?" And they try and go into that room with Hunter and Omega, but Hunter closes the door, tells Omega to go through the tunnel system to the, I forget where
ship probably.
To this, she's like, go catch up with Echo. But I can't remember.
Echo's still in the ship.
That's what they think, but he's already left. So even though she went,
Well, yeah.
But like, I can't remember where that sewer line went to directly. If it just went out like a few blocks, or
Probably.
I can't remember. I remember we saw it in the first season, like the whole thing. But so she goes down while Hunter goes to help with Wrecker, and she's going down, but then she's like, "I can't leave him. He's hurt." Blah 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 blah. And because AZ's like, "You gotta keep going." She's like, "No, I'm going back." And so then Hunter goes into the main room, and they all got Wrecker captured, and there's like 10 commandos in there, and Dr. Hemlock is in there, and like Hemlock is like, "Oh, that's a stupid plan. Like, you didn't need to know that. You don't even have to have your heightened senses to know that you're outnumbered." And so there's just kind of like this standoff of whatever. And so he gives a briefcase of credits to Sid, so now everybody knows what she did. She leaves, and it's just kind of like a negotiation of talking back and forth. "I'm here for the girl. You're going to give her to me. That's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you give me her, then you guys can go. Be all fine, blah, blah, blah." It doesn't happen. And so then he decides, Hunter puts his gun down. He gets handcuffed. And they're like, "Well, Omega's long gone. You're not going to find her." And then, because at this whole time, she came back and she's in the air vents watching this. And so they leave, and he's like, "Well, we'll find out if we find her or not." Because obviously they weren't going to let anyone leave the planet unless they had her. So eventually she was going to get found.
Yeah.
But they leave the bar, and Omega confronts from the rooftops, like a fire escape rooftop area. She shoots a few times to stop him, and then there's a negotiation. "Oh, Omega, I'm here for you. If you turn yourself in, I'll let your brothers go unharmed." And "I don't believe you, blah blah blah. Now let's say he's alive." And "No, you're lying, blah blah blah." It's this classic back and forth. And then Scorch, the commando, comes from behind and stuns Omega. And she's taken. And while this is happening, Echo's trying to get to the Bad Batch, seeing crap go down, and somehow he captures a ATST.
Yep.
I knew, but it's like, how did he even get into it? Like,
we don't need to know that.
We don't
His
need to
arm.
know.
He probably unlocked it.
So he goes in and he starts shooting everybody and things, and the Chaos, Hunter, and Wrecker are able to break free. And so
that's the thing, right? Is like Echo's character last season was such a waste of space, and then this season, that boy has been coming in clutch consistently.
What do you mean consistently? Just the last 2 episodes.
Well, that's the last 2 episodes that we really care about. Half of the season. I guess technically now we know that in the speed chase season episode that we hate so much, we know that it meant that Sid for sure is turning bad.
Right.
I
It
guess.
was still underwhelming, Sid's stuff. Like,
Yeah, because it
was very
It
underwhelming.
was underwhelming in the sense too, because it was very predictable once it was happening. Like,
Yeah.
she's just a rat, man.
And so the Empire, they take Omega because they capture her, and going back to their ship, Hunter's like, we gotta get to our ship and we can't let that ship leave, blah blah blah. And by the time they get to the hangar where the Imperial ship is, they're already leaving, and they try and get into their ship, the Chase, and by the time they get there, Omega's gone. They get to space, and they, for some reason, the blockade didn't want to shoot the Bad Batch down out of the sky, which is weird.
Well, I think it's because everyone in the blockade, like the Empire, were probably all drinking coffee.
Really?
Probably. I would assume so.
You think it was break time? They get break times in the Empire where they could just stop
Well,
in the
this is
middle of a mission?
early Empire, so yeah, they probably do. So
They had more worker rights early on.
Yeah. Gotta get them comfortable, give them the best coffee in the galaxy, you know,
All
maybe
right.
some of the best tea in the galaxy.
All right, you're right. So, if you want to have some of the same coffee and or tea that these Imperial stormtroopers are drinking that let the Bad Batch escape, listen to our commercial from Empire Radio.
From Empire Radio.
From Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code Empire Radio, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it. All right. So, the Bad Batch to get away. And Echo is like, there was no way we were able to track their ship. It's just not possible. And Hunter is furious, and he's like, we are not going to stop until we find her. And so that's going to be season 3, assuming that we get a season 3. And they're just going to be looking for her. So I wonder how that's going to play out, because just 3 of them, that's only 3 of them. Are they going to be more in contact with the clone uprising, where Rex, they get implemented into Rex's network that Echo told him about last episode?
Mm-hmm. And we kind of skipped over this part because right before all this happened, Hunter and Omega were talking, and Hunter was saying we need to be done with.
Right, they wanted to officially retire on
Pabu.
And that's when Omega said yes.
And Omega said yes, she wants that. So like they were gonna be done.
Right. And so I'm assuming with the tease of the clone uprising in this episode from one of those Imperial guys, I think season 3 will have a lot of clone network stuff, rebelling with the clones. Like, you know, last week Daniel from the voicemails said like there could be a second Clone Wars, in a sense, where there's that uprising of clones, which I think would be really cool. A big uprising. but who knows what will happen. But definitely they'll be searching for Omega regardless. I'm trying to think like what other people that we've seen in these 2 seasons that would want to maybe help find Omega. Like obviously Fee would hands down join in to try and help. But like, I don't know other
Maybe
characters.
Cody.
But I'm saying like ones that have met Omega in seasons 1 and 2. Like I don't know
Maybe the 2 girls from
Trace and Rafa.
Yeah.
Maybe that'd be interesting. Hera, I don't know. She's too young. She's another kid, same age, maybe younger than Omega. But I don't know about that. I don't know.
Maybe
Did Senator Chuchi, did she meet?
Yeah, she did.
So
Remember because
she's,
Omega was like guarding her or whatever.
I can't remember.
Because she was walking around, Omega was walking with her, and we all.
Oh yeah,
thought
in the Senate.
Yeah, we all
when they
thought
went to-
what's
yeah.
his name was gonna.
So
Recognize
Chuchi, she's
Omega?
already working with Rex, so like we know
Yeah.
that's
So
a
yeah,
thing.
that's definitely gonna happen.
So I love Senator Chuchi, so more of her would always be great. So yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna help. I doubt that's just gonna be Wrecker and Hunter.
Yeah,
But
probably.
there's no way Echo's like, oh, okay, sorry, we lost our sister.
No.
Peace out. I'm going with Rex. Like,
No, because the thing is now they don't have to retire because one of the reasons was to protect her. Well, she is captured, so
right.
they're gonna do everything in their power to go get Omega back.
Yep. So after this, Dr. Hemlock and Omega land on Tantus.
What did we mention that Hemlock gave goggles to?
I think. Oh, we
Hunter?
mentioned it early on. We didn't.
Yeah.
But so Hunter picks up the goggles, and then in that final scene where Hunter's like, "We're not gonna stop until we find her." I think Wrecker is holding those goggles. So, yeah. So Dr. Hemlock and the ship, they get to Tantus. Omega gets taken down, and Nala Se is there. And Hemlock tells the one aide, all right, have Emery take her to her whatever. And so then they go off, but then Nala Se is there, and Dr. Hemlock says, like, oh, the Prime Minister said that you had a close relationship with Omega, so I brought her back to you just because I'm a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. That being said, are you going to help with this project that we want you to work with that the Emperor wants? And she's like, what he's asking is impossible. So, like, then we're assuming that it's the cloning of himself. Like, that's the hinted. It could be something. It could be this a mislead. Who knows? But because we know it's very difficult, just at least in, I guess, EU stuff, it's that cloning a Force-sensitive individual is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
And we know that it took 1 million tries to get Emperor Palpatine cloned for Episode 9 stuff with like Snoke. Like Snoke was like the only one that actually worked, and it wasn't even didn't work well at all. So because he's
has Rey's dad,
had a janky face and deformed, and he like walked weird and stuff. So like we're assuming that it's the cloning thing of Palpatine, but it could be also involved with the Zillo Beast because that's still alive. Like we still got a giant Zillo Beast in captivity. Like that's definitely not going to go away. Like that's going to happen again probably. So, but now I say it was basically, and she's like, it's impossible, and he's like, well, for Omega safety or whatever, you're gonna have to make it work. So, all right, that's what's going to happen. And then we see Omega brought into a science lab room, and there's a bunch of clones that are on tables tied down. There's like cylinder tubes with like bodies in it that I think were just clones. I don't think it was any like clones of our clones, not
Yeah. I don't
clones
think
in
it
general.
was.
So there's that. And then while she's in there, she sees Crosshair on one of the tables and runs to him. Blah, blah, blah. And then
Tries
Emery.
to wake him up.
Yeah. And then Emery walks in and talks to Omega and says, "Hey, the View Twist," in the chat.
I was gonna say she said that.
No, I just looked over and saw that he's there. And so she's like, "I trust Nala say, blah blah blah." I don't, and Emery's like, "It's interesting. It's ironic that you trust the Kaminoans more than you trust me." And Omega's like, "Why would I trust you? I don't even know you." And she's like, "No." And she takes off her glasses, and gets down on a knee. And you should trust me. I'm your sister. Oh, brr, brr, brr. Why didn't you do that? You guys did a brr, brr, brr.
No, I like that one more.
But yes, like we were right.
We are sisters.
She's a clone.
It was nuts. That part, I was like, what?
I thought like when she took off her glasses, she was gonna look a little bit more similar to Omega, but Emery looks more like the male clones than she does look like Omega. So I think it makes sense because someone who's Omega is what 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there.
Yeah, something like that.
Like when you age to an adult, yeah, there can be a huge difference in going through puberty and all that stuff that can change facial features and stuff. But because like Omega is still super light skinned and
her
blonde
hair's
hair.
Blonde.
They could have just had Emery at least have blonde hair.
Well, maybe her hair will get darker as she gets older.
Maybe.
I was born blonde.
You?
Yeah. I was born blonde and my hair switched to dark brown.
I think I had lighter hair when I was born, like more like a lighter brown. But now I'm dark brown with spots of white hairs here and there.
Wow.
But that's the end.
Yeah. Season 2. That's a wrap.
So
that was a good wrap. It was a good last 2 episodes. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Predictions, like you said, like those 3 teaming up to get out and are teaming up to
Crosshair, Emery, and Omega are eventually going to work together and probably end Nalase.
Yeah.
And so they're going to try and get out, work together.
And you say Tech is not dead.
Tech, I don't think is dead.
I hope you're right.
Unless we see a body, but like it's also a kid's show, so like are they going to show a dead body of a main character?
No, but they could show a scene of them like burying him with like the goggles or something.
But we know that Dr. Hemlock is doing experiments with clones.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense
he
that
could be in there.
Well, I don't think he's there yet.
Not yet, but like they could have him
eventually, which would be interesting. Like, it'd be kind of weird. Like his body probably got wrecked. Obviously,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
so I'm saying like maybe he's gonna become kind of like Tech, or like Echo. Echo is gonna become more like Tech, where he's gonna have like
body modification,
and stuff. So
I could see that. Maybe he'll have his iPad directly inserted into his arm.
Maybe.
And we called it arm pad.
But I don't. So we probably, if we don't ever see him again, then he's dead. Yeah. Like I don't think that they're gonna bring Tech back in live action or another show.
No. If we don't see him in the next season, then he's actually dead.
Yeah, but
I don't think he's dead.
I'm
though.
still a little bit hopeful that he's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like he had a giant backpack on. He had to have something in there that could
Yeah, he's smart.
catch a little parachute or something enough to like.
Like, what if he parachuted and he dropped his goggles, and then the guy found the goggles? Like the first scene of this season 3 is like of that text point of view.
Right. But
Yeah.
It was a great 2-episode finale.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of the season we were kind of disappointed by because there's a lot of episodes that didn't mean anything. Either an episode was amazing, 10 out of 10, or it was a bore. And so
these last 2 were 10 out of 10.
It's like definitely
the last one was like a 15 out of 10.
It's like the last 5 episodes were good. Like the Pabu one was like a little, it was okay, but because that's still one of the 5. But yeah, these 2 you had last week, which was last week was the Pabu one?
No,
that was Tipping Point. So that was with
before that,
and then before that was Pabu, but then before that
was when Crosshair got taken, which was a good episode too.
The Outpost, and then before that was Metamorphosis, which was the Zillow Beast one. So it's literally the last 6 episodes were pretty good. So it had a strong end to the season, but that racing episode, that mountain one, was lame. Like,
yeah. All this stuff with Crosshair and it was good.
Right. His 2 episodes, was it 3 episodes was him?
Yeah.
Plus him was laying there on the gurney today, which I guess counts, but yeah. So I'm hopeful for the future. It's going to be a while before we get it again.
Yeah. We'll find out probably next weekend when we're going to get it or when they're predicting it should come out.
Yeah, because there is a Bad Batch panel at Star Wars Celebration. And I'm sure that they were going to just at least announce a 3rd season, which maybe they'll say late 2024 or early 2025 or something, but I doubt
Spring 2025 probably.
But they're probably not going to give, after them delaying the season by 4 months or whatever it was.
No, we're not getting a date. We're just going to get an announcement.
I don't even think we'll just say that there's an announcement for a season. I don't think not even like 2024 or 2025. I don't even think they'll say that. But
we'll see.
But yeah,
they might pull like Marvel thing and they give out like the full timelines of every Star Wars thing coming up. And
hopefully they do that on next Friday with the future of Star Wars. But
hopefully there's a movie. Give me a Star Wars movie again.
That happens, it won't be till 2025.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it would even be because a couple we forgot to talk about this for breaking news from last couple of weeks ago, like 2-3 weeks ago, but that Rogue Squadron 1 is officially canceled now, even though it was never, like, it was put on hold, and that Jenkins lady, the director, was like, well, now that they canceled Wonder Woman, like, I now have opportunity to do this because it was never scrapped. It was just on hold. But now it's officially been canceled. And the Kevin Feige movie has been officially canceled. And the only one that's still in
the air
is the Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi or Taika?
Well, people say both, but it's Taika Waititi.
He's still there, like it's still in the air, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know
if that's moving forward as the first movie that we're gonna get. If it is,
they have
to make it official now, so that it can be released in 2 years.
That's the thing, right? Is like that one, like everyone's pretty hyped about that, and then the last Thor movie came out, and now people are like, so I don't know. Be interesting.
Okay, first of all, that Thor 3 is in my top 5 Marvel. Dude, I love that movie.
You liked it, and
did you ever watch it yet?
No, I don't.
Dude, that fight scene.
I'll just watch that fight scene because apparently that's the only thing anyone says is worth watching.
Wait, have you seen the movie though?
No, but everyone, you're the only person I know that likes that movie.
Watch the movie, okay? It's
and
on
I know
Disney
a lot
Plus.
of Marvel. I haven't even seen the new Wakanda movie,
That one's really good.
and I have
That's
no desire at all to see
way
the new
better than the
Ant-Man.
first Black Panther movie, which
I
I
have
think is
no
overrated.
Okay, well, I like that movie,
Well,
but
then
I
you're
also
gonna
have
like this one more.
no desire at all to watch the new Ant-Man movie.
Oh yeah, that one's terrible. That was probably the worst one. But Guardians is coming out in a couple months.
Yeah, I'll wait until you watch it, and you can tell me if it's worth watching.
Okay.
'Cause I don't even think I finished Guardians 2.
How do people not finish movies? I just don't get it.
Because, like,
It's so weird to
I
me.
didn't go to a theater and watch it, but it was, like, on. I was watching it, and then I was like, oh, I'll just watch something else. And I turned it off.
I just don't get that. I understand, like, if you're watching a TV series and it's like after a season, you're like, all right, I'm done. But like people like watching like halfway through a movie, I don't like it and they just give up on it. Like I just don't.
There's just so much to watch and not enough time.
Yes.
And a lot of the times, if I have to turn off a movie, a lot of it has to do with stuff like, I don't want to watch this, let's watch something else. And I'll turn it off, and I'll never get back to it.
Well,
so it's probably one of those things.
Gotta blame the wife, I guess.
Yeah. Hey.
All right, well, now we're rambling. Anything else about Bad Batch before we transition to everybody's favorite time of the
voicemail
show?
time? No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm excited actually for season 3 now. But there was a few episodes there where I'm like, I don't even care anymore about the show. But now I'm excited for season 3. So they got me hooked back in. And it just sucks because there is a bunch of people that stop watching the show in the middle of it.
Right.
So that kind of does stink. But
all right. Well, let's transition over.
It's voicemail time.
All right. Well, we have one audio voicemail from Will. But before we listen to that one, we can listen to read some questions from Elias that he sent in via email. So he has 4 questions for us. So let me bring that up. All right, first question. Which Star Wars character do you think you could beat in a lightsaber fight? So are we supposed to assume this is a force sensitive person that's like a Jedi or Sith that we're fighting, or is it just like give a lightsaber to Babu Frick and like I could beat Babu Frick?
Can you though?
Heck yeah. I just golf them away, dude. But
yeah, I don't know. If they're force sensitive, none.
If it's someone that's a Jedi or Sith, like I'm sure I could take on some Padawans. I don't know.
Younglings.
Younglings.
You'll pull Anakin on us.
I could probably be a substitute
Master
teacher.
Skywalker.
I could be a substitute for Anakin and Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, chill.
But yeah, I don't think any trained someone who's actually an official Jedi I could beat.
No.
Now, if it's like someone more competent, like Han Solo versus me, I feel like I don't even think I could be Han Solo because he knows how to fight. So is he using a darksaber and he can't lift it?
Yeah, well, duh, yeah.
I mean, well, duh. I don't know, because
he's pretty slow. If you had a good lightsaber,
I don't know. He went toe to toe.
He's not good with
even though he struggled, he was able to fight off Heavy Mando. Even though
by stabbing him in the leg with a different weapon.
But Paz picked up the darksaber though.
I'm saying Mando, you fighting Mando, and all he can use is he can like fight obviously with his feet and hands, but he does no other weapons. Do you think you could beat him?
No.
Really?
Because he knows how to just use stuff to fight. Like does
hand to hand. Thrawn with a saber. You think you could beat him?
No. I don't know.
Jar Jar?
Maybe. No. He's a Sith Lord, dude. I can't.
Not a boy.
Dude, he took out so many things on Naboo
Yeah.
in episode 1. Like, no, I don't think I could beat any.
You know who I could beat confidently? A clone trooper, or not a clone trooper?
Like a stormtrooper,
a stormtrooper.
a scout trooper.
Yeah,
You could probably take out.
them.
But do you think you could? Okay, we know that scout troopers can't shoot, but like scout troopers, especially from like that Mando finale. But like,
Well, stormtroopers can't either. But
like
then,
they could. But you wouldn't be able to know how to block.
What about? But in Jedi Fallen Order, there's still scout troopers with those staffs.
The purge troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're specifically trained to fight force sensitive people. So
yeah, but doesn't the scout troopers too in that have those electrical things?
The purge troopers are the ones that have those staffs. So
I also have a scout trooper with that staff though. That's from there. I don't know.
Don't know.
But yeah. So I don't know.
So I don't think I could be.
Maybe
it would have to be just like a regular citizen that's like me. I'm a regular person.
Maybe
I'm a regular person, so I have to fight against a regular person.
Guido.
Maybe, but he's just a regular.
He can fly though.
Yeah, but he's out of shape.
That's true. First Order trooper.
He kicked Finn's butt. Finn was
force
Finn was hand to bat trained. Like some people are like, well, how does Finn know how to wield that saber so well? Well, because in the comics or whatever, he was like trained in hand to hand combat and knew how to wield stuff. And
he's force sensitive.
Yep, but he didn't know that back then. So, all right, Elias, that's your first question. Second question is, would you rather eat the same thing for 10 years or watch the same movie for 10 years? And he said, I would eat the same thing for 10 years.
Depends on what movie it is.
I think that watching the same movie would get old. But like, I already eat a lot of the same stuff. And so it's like I'm used to having a simple thing. So if I just ate burgers and fries for 10 years.
That would be your pick?
That, or I feel like that's because you can do. Maybe I'm taking a little bit too much liberty, but you can make variations.
No, you're taking too much liberty. I think it's just.
But a burger
of it.
It's still, you need your portion of meat. You get dairy. You get your veggies on it. You get your grain.
You don't need grain, but yeah.
Huh?
You don't need grain, but yeah.
What do you mean I don't eat grain?
No, you don't need grain, but yeah.
Oh, well, it's still food. Still.
No, yeah.
That's nothing crazy. So, like, I would go with like a cheeseburger and fries.
Did you get fat, though? Probably gain weight on that.
I don't know. I heard that if you, like, precisely eat the same amount of calories on a regular basis, like, your body adjusts to that and you don't, like... Fluctuate in weight. So, like, if I eat the same portion burger and fries every day, like 3 meals a day, my body would just adjust to that, and I wouldn't gain weight or lose weight or anything.
Yeah, I could watch A New Hope, but I don't think I can do it 10 years nonstop. That would get annoying.
Right.
Yeah, I would do sushi for 10 years straight. I could eat sushi nonstop for 10 years.
See what DeVue twist said? I would eat the tube sludge from Narkina 5, so from the prison in Andor, the little tube of things. But is that the one with no flavor, with a little flavor, or the one with a lot of flavor? Because you get the 3 kinds of sludge in Narkina 5.
Yeah, but at the same time, you get all the nutrients and stuff you need, so it doesn't matter.
Right. So, with flavor.
With flavor.
So, I would probably do the same thing. Because then I can have
me too.
A variety of movies. Like, I could watch, it's a lot more entertaining than food. Food is just kind of there because you got to eat.
But I could eat sushi.
Interesting.
'Cause you get fish, you get rice. You be good on that stuff.
All right. Well, next question from Elias. Would you rather live 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future? He said, I would live 100 years in the future. And then, by the way, I joined the Discord and Twitch, so now Will doesn't have to hunt me down and force me to.
Nice.
So I did see that you joined the Discord, but you haven't been active. You haven't posted anything. You haven't interacted, Elias. And if you don't stay active for 30 days, then you get deleted. So join the fun and just talk to us.
So just say hi.
Say hi once every 30 days, but we'd love to hear from you because we just get your questions. We don't know what your personality is like.
True.
We don't know your knowledge.
Come to Empire Con.
Come to Empire Con. Does the View Twist? Do you know about Empire Con? In August, you've been MIA for a while, so I don't know if you know about that. But Empire Con, Minnesota, 3-day weekend,
August
18th through 20th.
Join the Discord so you can get more details.
He's in the
sign
Discord.
up now.
He was in the Discord.
No, I'm just saying it as that because we forgot to mention it in the beginning.
Yeah. Anyway, 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future?
Future. Because I could hang out with my grandkids, potential grandkids.
Great grandkids, great.
Yeah. In the past,
I think I don't know. So it would be 1923. It would be post World War I.
About to hit World War.
Just before the economic crash and had the Great Depression.
Freaking Great Depression. Yeah, no thanks, bro.
But here's the thing. So I'm 33, so I wouldn't be drafted into the war. I'm already live a simple lifestyle. I could have a simple
no Wi-Fi.
Right, but they didn't have it. You don't need it back then.
The thing is,
I could live a lot simpler life. I wouldn't be drafted into the war. And then here's the thing. Once you get to 1946, after World War II, we're booming as a nation. We're booming.
That's true.
We're growing.
And you know what? Because you've been in the future, you can pull what's his name from Back to the Future, and you know all the
stuff. I would have to
all the outcome for sporting events, and boy, could you make some money, and then you'd be set.
That'd be crazy, because I would want to stop the Kennedy assassination, but then they're like, "How do you know?" And then I've been thrown in some CIA prison for all my life.
That's true. You can't say. You just have to stop it, or you can stop certain things.
I would just have to make a small explosion, in the distance, and then they would.
But then that would change the outcome of everything.
I wonder how the world would be different if
John
Kennedy didn't get assassinated
by his own people. But anyway.
But I would probably go in the past just because it would be a simpler life.
It'd be kind of cool.
I could just
maybe you're broke as heck and you're struggling.
Well,
I don't
a lot of people got through it, so I bet I could get through it.
Can't assume.
But then it's I would know all the Star Wars stuff before it comes out. I'd go opening night, would save my tickets, save the toys.
True.
Save all the toys.
Buy every figure, buy every Star Wars thing. But you'd be old. But
oh yeah, 2023 be another 77. Yeah, I'd be dead.
But you could tell your future, have a whole thing and say, "Hey, when Star Wars comes out, make sure."
I would just have to what companies were started,
Kenner,
very young, right after World War II, that are now big companies now, and invest in them, and then
build it so that your whole family has wealth.
Dude, I'd still be single with no kids, so my life would be exactly
You don't know that. How would you know that?
Yeah.
You're a guy. Everyone's off at war. You're by yourself, bro. There's no way, bro.
No, I'm good.
You'd get all the ladies you want, dude.
I
You're
don't
the
want
only
any. I
man here.
don't even want one. Like, why?
I'm just saying, there's no way you'd be single in the 20s. Yeah.
I could probably
No
run
one
for
was
president,
single.
and they wouldn't.
Yeah. You
All
can do
right.
so much.
Well, last question from Elias. How long do you think you would survive in the Clone Wars? I bet I could survive all of it. Well, it depends on where you are. If you're on Ryloth or something, like, and you're taken over by
Depends on,
separatists,
are you a
like,
Clone War? Or are you just a civilian?
yeah.
Are you
So
a clone, I mean?
if you're a clone and I wonder like what the percentage of clones died by the end of the
High.
Clone Wars. Like what? Because there's 250,000 clones in Episode 2, right? With 1 million on the way.
Yeah.
And then I wonder, are we supposed to assume that by the end of the Clone Wars, 1.25 million clones were active, plus the ones still in training and children and whatnot? So, like, what percent of them died? Like, do you think more than half? What's the over? Over or under half on clones dying? But
Over.
But I feel like most people survived the Clone Wars. Like, if their planet was taken over by the separatists, I feel like most still survived. They're just under oppression.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't.
I
That
think
depends.
we'd
You're right.
survive.
You could
Depends
just
on
go
the
to some
country
random planet
or
that's
world, planet.
like, and if you're on a Republic planet that is in the inner core or mid, what is it? Mid or outer, mid rim or inner rim, like, you're probably mostly safe. So I think I'd survive.
I'll just go to Tatooine and hang out.
I would just hang out in the woods, like, away from everybody.
You don't like the woods.
Better than dying. If I had to live in the woods or die, I'd go with living in the woods.
All right, you heard it here first. World War III. Jeremiah's gonna be in the woods somewhere.
Yep. Well, I'm too old to get drafted too, so.
Well, they might up the draft.
And I got a bad back, but
desperate times calls for desperate measures.
Yep.
It could be Russia, and they draft anyone that's under 50.
Yep. But anyway, thank you, Elias, for your 4 questions. Send in a real voicemail next time.
True.
Because here's some information from Will in his voicemail that we have that will kind of help encourage everyone to send in voicemail. So let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio. Will here. Voicemails are back. At least for me. It looks like Anchor is now Spotify for podcasters? Anywho, for those of you that have had trouble sending voicemails, me personally, I'm able to send one, and I've had issues in the past. So, if you have any pressing questions, you can now send them in.
Yes. So people have been having issues with sending in voicemails for a while, but Anchor, which was owned by Spotify, has been rebranded into Spotify for podcasters, and they've been changing the website over the last couple of months. So we think that's why. And I believe, didn't you say Will re-downloaded the app?
Something like that, he said, yeah.
So there's probably there was the Anchor app, and now there's the Spotify for podcasters app. Go with the new upgraded app, and that should help you send voicemails.
You might just have to update the app, but then our link should still work.
Yes.
So if you just click the link, it should send you to
the
right place.
So the link in the description, in the links.co thing, there's a link to send a voicemail. So if you're having issues, re-download the app, or the new app, I should say, and things should maybe work better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Elias, send in a voicemail with the new app. Yeah. Love to hear from you, and hang out in the Discord now that you're a member. But that's all the voicemails we have for tonight, which is
So that was it.
Because we're a day early on
That's
when
true.
we were doing
Bad
so.
batch.
But Will sent one in for the clutch to keep the streak alive. But
But
now,
also,
what?
I was gonna say with that though, if you guys do have voicemails about this, the last 2 episodes of Bad Batch, you can feel free to still send them next week for the Mando.
Yeah, we'll play them on Mando. That's fine. But we need do we want a poll for this one? For this Bad Batch episode?
Is Tech alive? Or is
Tech
that too
alive?
spoilery?
No.
It's not? How is it not?
Because every single question we have is spoilerly.
Oh, okay. Is Tech alive? That's my question.
Yep. I will go something along those lines. And we'll still read those next week on Mando because
that's the last one.
That's the last one.
So we got to read 2 next week, so we can't forget.
Right. But anywho, like we said, there's a link in the description to get connected to Empire Radio. So if you want to follow us on Instagram or Facebook or anything, there's a links.co/Empire Radio. Click on that in the description, bring you to a landing page of everything. And so there's YouTube, Twitch, there's the fan email, there's the VCU Illustration Project, which you heard from Lucy earlier today in this episode. And there's the needlesslynerdy.com entertainment network that we're part of. Go check that out. And yeah, follow us on YouTube. We could always use more subscribers on there. It's always exciting.
Like the videos. Even if you already listened to this, feel free to go over to YouTube and like the videos.
Yeah, just binge like every single video. Yeah. Subscribe while you're there. Help us out.
You know what we keep forgetting too? If you guys are on Spotify or iTunes, you guys can leave us a 5-star review. That'll also help us out. And we don't say that enough. So if you guys haven't left us a review before, go ahead and do that. We would appreciate it.
Yeah. And so that's it. Bad Batch is done. Who knows when we'll get season 3? We got Star Wars Celebration next week. We got Mandalorian episode 6 next week.
And Mando episode 6, chapter 22 is going to be normal time next week too. So you guys know.
Wednesday evening. And so
yes.
And now that we're only doing 1 episode a week, well, even though we are going to be doing that weekend tons of Star Wars Celebration stuff, we're just back to once a week. So you got to make sure you have your voicemail sent in by Wednesday by 7 p.m. So that I can listen to them and upload them and get them ready for the podcast.
By the time by the time I'm doing the watch party, make sure you send in the voicemails.
Yes. So Wednesday nights moving forward. And then once Mando is done, still Wednesdays, or do we want to go back to Tuesdays? We got to figure that out.
We'll figure that out.
But
maybe we'll have a poll. Maybe at some point do a poll and see if people want Tuesday back at Tuesdays or Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Well,
Bad Batch done. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. So you have been listening to another Bad Batch-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.